Welcome to the ROOVISION Knowledge Library Tuesday class. Like we promised earlier this month, we said every Tuesday of this month of July, we will be live to handle a particular question in snail farming. All right, and we've been doing this. This is the second Thursday that we are on this series. Last Tuesday was a bomb. If you've not watched that video, please do well to watch the video. I will be putting the link to that video in the description after this live session, right? So today we will be looking at how to make your snails lay more egg. Now this is one area of snail farming that actually balance snail farming. If you're not getting this part right, then you are not going to be doing anything in snail farming. All right, please, if you can hear me, let me know in the comment section that you can hear me so we can go all in as we are starting off. All right, if you can hear me, please just type in the comment section that you can hear me. I will appreciate that a lot as we look on how to make your snail lay more eggs today. All right, so if you can hear me loud and clear, please do that. You know, we okay, let me start by asking you, you know, some of us have snails. Please, if you can hear me, just let me know in the comment section. All right, now some of us are already farming, while some of us are just coming into snail farming. Now if you have snails, or you already own a farm, you have snails, they are feeding well, they are active, they are of size, but they are not laying. Can you drop that in the comment? Just say not laying in the comment. Okay, thank you, Bruno. Thank you. Now if you have snails, they are eating well, they are active, but they are not giving you eggs. That's it, they are not laying. Just drop in the comment section not laying. If you have snails, they are eating well and they are of size, but they are not laying eggs, because this is the area we want to handle today: how to actually get your snails to lay more, the causes of all of this, and then the solution. Now ROOVISION is not about telling you the problem alone. We'll tell you the problem and also narrow the solution so that you walk your way through. Okay, so we'll be looking at various areas that affect and various areas that can improve your egg production. Remember that snail farming is a business where production is key. Production is key. All right, so I will explain exactly why all of this happen and how you can actually go about it in this process. So I have my slide written down. All right, okay, areas we're going to be handling in this presentation. We don't want this presentation to be too long, and we don't want to divert into other things, because we just need to give you the right information so you can go home and apply it in your farm and get it all right. Now the first part we're going to be looking at now, in egg production, it depends on so many things. But before we look into each of them separately, I need to also make you to understand that egg production. Now some farmers just buy snails, or how should I put it now? Now some persons just want to start snail farming and they go and get matured snails. Now you should understand that snails don't snails don't lay because they are mature. There are other criteria that makes this possible. Snails do not produce egg because the snail is of age, right? Now you buy your snails, okay? You buy your adult snails or you buy your breeders, right? Now because you have bought these snails, you are expecting them to just keep giving you eggs every day, every day, every day. Now this is not going to be happening in that regard. This is not going to be happening in that regard because now some snails can come into your farm. Now before I explain that, you've noticed that if you start your farming, there are times you just bring in snails. Those snails will start producing egg on their arrival, but after a period they stop producing, as if they don't want to lay again. Now there are reasons why this happened. That is, they came in and they laid and they are unable to continue the process. It is not all the time that they've laid what they have to. Most times it is because of the environment they are not introduced into. That's why we're going to be looking at these areas. Now we're looking at maturity first, right? Now when we talk about snail maturity, you need to also understand that it is not necessarily just the age, because there are some snails that are big, like very big, but in age, okay, how do I do this? Now there are, let's say, a species, you have two species of snails. At 6 months, for instance, one is more of a table size and the other is still like a grower, but they are of the same age, right? Now this means that what both of these snails can do is not going to be the same, because the bigger one will do better than the smaller one, but they are of the same maturity age range. So when we are talking about egg production, a snail that is above 8 months upward, by nature is supposed to start mating to produce egg. Now if this snail that is above 8 months is big enough to lay, you already have that happening for you. If this snail that is above 8 months is stunted in growth, that is, it didn't grow as it is supposed to grow within that period, the snail will have difficulty to produce egg. So now it is not about the age, it's more like it's about the size, right? If you are with me, please type "I'm with you." Let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. Just type "I'm with you" in the comment section. Please do that now so we can run into all of them, because we're going to be talking about the maturity here. We're going to be talking about nutrition. Now nutrition is a strong part in snail farming. Nutrition is a strong part in snail farming. You see some persons, when they get their snails, all they do is just feed their snails with vegetables, fruits. Now this is not going to give you eggs. When that snail you just brought into your farm start giving you eggs, if the feeding part is not consistent, the eggs will drop. So you need to understand that a snail that is producing already needs to be eating consistently. I'm with you, but sometimes it breaks. I guess it's the network. Let's see. I'm coming. Let me swap the mic to see what is happening. Please stay with me. It's better for everybody to hear what I'm saying than rushing to the end without nobody getting me. All right, please confirm if this is better than it was before. Please do that. Thank you. I appreciate that as well. Please confirm if you cannot hear me better. All right. So I'm talking about nutrition. All right. All right. Good. Oh, but please confirm if you can hear me. Okay. 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 Please feel free to draw my attention to when uh the mic is breaking so that we can get it fixed. It is better for you to hear me than I just speak and you are not getting me at all. All right. So we talked about maturity. We talked about nutrition. Now, environment is also a factor that also affects production. Now, we have you have your maturity, you have nutrition, you have the environment. Now, the environment is there. You have the weather, you have stress, and then you have genetics, the type of snails. Some persons are good at always coming to touch their snails in the name of sorting for eggs. In the name of, you see some person when they open their pen, they see a snail on the cover, they'll pick it down. All of that are disturbed. Do that only when you notice that if that snail falls from that height, it could break. But if the way it's positioned on the door, even if you open and close, it's not going to fall off because they actually grip to the cover. So it's not going to just fall off. So if it's not going to fall, do not disturb. Do not just cover your tin and let it be. So sometimes we also cause most of this problem to snails. All right, thank you. Okay, so a mature snail can refuse to lay egg if all of these things are not in place. A mature snail, a snail that is due for laying, could stop to lay eggs if you're not feeding it right, if the environment is not okay, if the snail is being stressed, if the weather is not conducive, the nutrition you are giving to them, they are not. All of this can stress and pull down egg production down. I'm going to explain how to improve on all of this. All right, so let's go bit by bit. Okay, now I said the signs your snail are ready to lay. Now there are different signs that actually push for you to know that okay, these snails are good to go and all that. But never judge maturity by age alone. That I've said already. And then size and body condition matters. I just explained that the sizes. Okay, you can have two sides like I explained, 6 small snails, one very big and the other very small. The eggs they are also going to lay is also going to be variable with their sizes. The snail that is big, the egg is going to be bigger regardless of the species. It's going to be bigger than the smaller one. Even if the two are the same species, the bigger one egg is going to be bigger than the smaller one's egg. Right? So the sizes and their body condition, it matters a lot when it comes to egg production. Now let's look into nutrition for egg production. Remember I talked about feeding. Now this is one big mistake so many people make. When they get their snails, let's say you get your snail from a farm or you get it from wherever. There should be a room for you to ask the supplier what you've been feeding the snails with. Now, if they've been feeding them with a particular meal, it is wise to also get that meal. Even if you are going to change, you are going to swap from that meal, it is wise to get that exact meal for the period they are just coming into your farm so that they don't just change meal. So you give them what they have been used to, even if you want to start introducing another. So you do it bit by bit and then they start getting used to the new one. But no, this is where so many people make mistake here. They get the snails that have been feeding well from the source, and then when they bring them into their farm, you just over because you've been told that snails eat vegetables. You switch into pawpaw leaf, you switch into cocoyam leaf, you switch into pumpkin leaf. Now, I'm not saying that all of these are not snail feed, but if you switch, it's going to affect the egg production because they are okay already. That's why when they come in, they're giving you eggs. Now that you're feeding them your style, the eggs is going to drop. It's going to drop because they are not eating right. This is why even as you are introducing your vegetables, you are introducing your fruit, you should have room for balanced diet. A food that contains all the nutrients that snails need to grow. So if you're not getting all of this right, the snails are going to crumble. Now, you need to understand that for your snails to give you egg, they must be eating protein-rich food, calcium-rich food. You know, when we talk about calcium, so many persons feel calcium is all about shell formation. No. It is shell formation and egg production. So your protein, your calcium, and water, these are constants. These are things you should give to your snail back to back if you want production. Especially when these snails are of age. They are mature enough for egg production. You should be giving them food that contains protein, food that contains carbohydrate, food that contains protein, food that contains calcium, and water. Because in as much as the calcium helps them to form, grow their shell, harden their shell, it also boosts egg production. If you're giving your snail the right calcium, your egg production will increase. And this is why when you're feeding your snails across your farm, note that the amount of calcium your babies need is not the same amount of calcium your breeders need. Note that. We're going to be talking about that as we roll in this process. We're talking about babies. Maybe in our next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about babies, right? How to raise them. But get this understanding of your calcium, your protein. These are the things that will help your snail to produce. So if you are just feeding your snails with just pawpaw leaf, cocoyam leaf, pumpkin leaf, water leaf, watermelon, if you feed it with all of this consistently, note that the eggs will come. But it's not going to be more. Like somebody that is giving them a balanced meal. A meal that contains protein, that contains calcium. Snails like water. So water is very, very important. Even as you are giving them your feed, there should be water for them to drink consistently. Snails' body is more of water. So there should be water in their farm, or in their pen, or in the farm, whichever you are doing. All right. So for nutrition, I just said there should be protein. Now we have different sources of protein. We have different sources of calcium. Water is water. Just avoid giving your snails treated water. So look for the protein source within your reach and always inculcate it into their feeding. Look for a calcium that is within your reach. Get it into their feed. You could be adding it to their feed. You could have it separately. You could even have the calcium and water mixed together. All right? Adding, just pouring water, calcium inside their drinking water, so they have the water and the calcium simultaneously. Please, if you can hear me, just type calcium in the comment section. Just type calcium in the comment section if you can hear me. Type calcium in the comment section. Before we go into the next thing that also improve egg production. If you can hear me, let me see you type calcium in the comment section. Let's go. All right. Thank you. All right. So now, soil. Let's talk about soil. The importance of soil in snail farming. You know, there is this soilless mind shift, right? Now, we practice soilless. This part of the farm is the earth part. The other part of the farm is the soilless part. Now, we practice all of them. But some persons get this soilless mindset totally different. Some persons want to do soilless without even introducing sand inside the pen. Maybe you are doing a German floor and then they don't want to even introduce sand into it. Now, you need to understand that soil, these things are called land snails. African land snails. There's a reason the name land is attached to their name. And because they derive things from the soil. Okay, so if you're depriving them 100% of soil, now, if they are coming from somewhere that they've been used to soil, and you're bringing them to somewhere that there is no soil at all, you should know that there will be difference in their production. Because it's more like coming to somewhere where what you've been used to is no longer available at your core. Right? So please note that. Now we have, okay, now let's talk about the soil. When you're using the earth, the soil is already there, so there's no measurement with the soil. But if you are looking at the soil, so some persons will always ask, what's the quantity or the volume of soil that they should put inside their German flood pen or a hunch buses? Now the truth is this: there shouldn't be an exact measurement, right? There shouldn't be an exact measurement, but do it this way instead. Let the amount of sand you have inside your pen or inside a pen, right, is enough to cover the snail that's going to be living inside the pen. I don't know if you get me. The sand you are going to be introducing inside the pen, it should be enough for the snail, in case the snail want to dig into the soil, it can hide completely. So the sand should be sand that if the snail goes in, the snail is completely covered. Because there will be a time where the snail just needs to hide. Right? So let the volume of the sand be enough to cover the snail. That's fine. You're not making it equal half. The amount of sand should be above the snail. So if it's a grower, you know the amount of sand that should be able to cover it. If it's a breeder, you should know the amount of sand that should be able to cover it. So you have that across the pen. And you need to also understand that when it comes to soil, we have loose soil, we have soft soil, we have loose soil, we have soft soil, we have moist soil. Now we have compact soil. All of these have their own disadvantages and advantages in helping your snail to lay eggs, in helping your snails to produce eggs. Soft soil, compact soil, loose soil, wet soil, and then waterlogged soil. All of this has their own advantage. Do not compound your soil. It's bad. Let the soil be loose. Let the soil be soft. Let it be moist. It shouldn't be compounded. All right? So that you get the best of your soil. And then avoid dry soil. Avoid dry soil. Dry soil will make your snails not to lay. Remember that their foot is going to always be on the soil. It's going to be affecting them. So make sure your soil is always moist. Always moist. There's a difference between a moist soil and a waterlogged soil. Now, when your soil turns into waterlogged, it stops. Especially for those that are using the German floor. If you're using the German floor and the water is excess on the soil or on the mushing that you have inside, it's going to turn into a mud. Your snails start crawling through and it's going to harbor bacteria. It's going to harbor different enzymes that will eventually attack your snails gently without you knowing. They might not attack your snails overnight. Start killing your snake gradually. So kindly avoid waterlogged soil is a killer. All right. Moisture and humidity helps egg production. You know, there is this calculation when, if you want to start a snail farm, people tell you start during the rainy season, right? Now, the reason why most times you were told to start during the rainy season is practically because snails are relatively cheaper compared to the dry season. But this class now is not for the price now. We're talking about humidity and the moisture. You also know that when rain falls around your house, you start seeing snails crawling out from their hideout. It gives them this activeness. That's why most times when we take snails to your farm, or we send snails to you, we always encourage you to energize them by using water. Now, when the rain falls, they are going to be crawling out from their hideout. Now, we need to understand something here. They are not crawling out because it's actually raining. They are crawling out because the atmosphere is better. The rain has disturbed where they were hiding. Now, let's say a snail is hanging up and the rain starts falling. As the water is hitting the snail back to back until the rain is going to stop, the snail will eventually find a way to crawl out of that, because where it's hiding, it was hiding from wind and sun. Now rain is coming through. There is this disturbance in that process. So it's going to look for cover. So in that act of crawling out, we tend to see them, we just finally conclude that the snails like rain. Snails don't like water per se. Snail likes the coolness that comes as a result of the water presence. So when you are told to sprinkle water in your farm or wet your pen, we're not saying create rain. We're saying create a moist environment. Let the place be cool so that your snails can enjoy their process. Now, for every time your farm is cool, when the humidity is cool, your snail mates more. When the environment is cool, snails tend to mate more. This is also another reason why you are being told to farm during the rainy season, or start off during the rainy season, because as the rain falls generally, it's going to help the environment. Remember we talked about environment earlier. It's going to help the environment to be very cool. And when this happens, your snail will tend to mate every now and then. And for every snail that mates, egg is being expected in few weeks. So once the snail mates, eggs is coming. So when the humidity is perfect, eggs will keep coming. So we'll work on our moisture and the humidity when it comes to snail farming. If your farm is too dry, it's an issue. If it's too wet, it's also an issue. So you need to manage the process. So your snails, your farm don't, because overwetting will lead to waterlogging, definitely. Especially when you're using an area where water don't drain off easily. If water drains off quickly and you're using the earth, after the rain, the water will just disappear. But when you're using a soilless, a German floor ground or base, when water stuck on it, it remains there and it's going to stay a longer period before it evaporates. Are we together? Please, if you can hear me, let me know in the comment section that you can hear me. All right. Now, to avoid this waterlog process, maybe in your earth pen or in your soil pen, soilless pen, you need to know how to manage the amount of water you sprinkling. The amount of water you're sprinkling will boost the humidity in your farm area, because now the sprinkling of the water is to make the place cool, as if rain actually fell or rain is falling, right? So the place becomes super cool. So do not pour excess water because you are sprinkling water. And then when we're talking about sprinkling water, you should also know that you can either wet your pen in the morning or you wet your pen in the evening. Just practically or intentionally avoid wetting your pen during the sun or in the afternoon. And most especially, do not get the water that you're going to be using for this wetting, this sprinkling into their pen from maybe your tank is hanging outside. Remember that the sun will start from like 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. The sun is already getting harsh on a very sunny day. And your water tank is above your roof. The sun is going to hit it. You notice that even you as a human, sometimes in the afternoon when you turn on your shower, the first set of water that comes in is super warm. Sometimes it's very hot. So if you're wetting your pen during the afternoon, that's the kind of water you'll be fetching from your tank. So if you must wet your pen during the afternoon, it shouldn't be water that you are getting from the tank. Maybe water that you have fetched overnight that is kept outside the sun. But the best time to wet your pen is morning before the sun, evening after the sun. Do not wet during the sunny hours. Do not get the water even from that sunny period to wet your pen. It's going to give you are going to end up introducing warm water into the pen. And the water, if the water is warm, it's going to affect your snails because your snail needs coolness, not heat. Right? If you can hear me, please let me know. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know as we roll. As we roll. If you can hear me, please just type I can hear you. Feel free to kindly share this video. Share this video to other snail farmers. Share it to somebody that is interested in going into snail farming. This is a free call. Let them also get value and learn how snail farming actually works before they start off. Like we said, every week Tuesday will be coming live like this in this whole month of July, and then every week we will be dropping videos that answer specific questions. So we're building the ROOVISION knowledge library where for every content that you watch in this channel is going to address a particular issue, a particular problem from start to finish. So feel free to subscribe now. Turn on the bell so that when we come live, YouTube notifies you. When we drop a new video, YouTube also notifies you. You'll be a part of those people that also get value for subscribing to the channel. All right, please, if you've not subscribed, just do well to just click on the subscription button right now and also click on the bell icon so that you can get notified in our next video. So that sometimes even when you didn't see the notice that will be live, YouTube help us to do all of that for you. Okay, now population, that is overcrowding. When you jam pack your snails, it's going to affect egg production. Now we need to understand that snails needs to mate to produce, right? Snails need to mate to produce. If you have seen snails that are mating before, please drop it in the comment section. If you have seen snails that are mating, just type yes, I've seen. If you've not seen snails that are mating, type no, I have not seen it. Snails that are mating. Have you seen snail mating before? If you have seen it, type in the comment. Maybe you saw it in your farm or you saw it in the video or in the picture. Just let us know in the comment that you've seen snails that are mating. Now, if snails are mating, if the pen is overcrowded, there's this tendency that another snail will crawl through them. Now, even before they crawling through, before snails start mating, they are not like hen or like birds, like chicken, that just get in contact and that's it. In snail farming, all right, thank you. In snail farming, snails takes time to mate. They actually romances for a period. They romances for a while. eventually tangles. So if this process is happening and you have a pen that is overcrowded with snails, there is this tendency that when